Hola a todos, soy Señorita Langevine. Hello everyone, I am Miss Langevine. Welcome to my grade 7 Spanish class. In today's lesson, we will be looking at La Familia, the family. How many people are in your family? Do you have sisters? What is the name of your cousin? You will learn new Spanish vocabulary on family members in this lesson. You will also be able to ask and answer questions about your family. Let's begin. I'm going to read a dialogue between a teacher and Marta. I'm going to read the dialogue first, and then on the second reading, I want you to repeat after me. ¿Ok? Muy bien. Buenos días, Marta. Buenos días, señorita Machado. ¿Cómo está usted? Bien, gracias. ¿Y tú? Muy bien, gracias. ¿Quién es el niño, Marta? Es mi hermano, señorita. ¿Es tu hermano? ¿Cómo se llama? Se llama Paco. I'm going to read again and I want you to repeat after me. Buenos días, Marta. Buenos días, señorita Machado. ¿Cómo está usted? Bien, gracias. ¿Y tú? Muy bien, gracias. ¿Quién es el niño, Marta? Es mi hermano, señorita. ¿Es tu hermano? ¿Cómo se llama? Se llama Paco. Do you recognize any familiar words? Take a look at the vocabulary chart. You will be able to write sentences and communicate effectively when you memorize the new vocabulary in each lesson. Now let's take a look at the dialogue again. Do you recognize any words, any sentences, any questions? Let's look at the vocabulary chart. In Spanish, when you want to say sir or miss, sir is señor, miss, señorita. Boy, niño, girl, niña. Who is he or who is she? ¿Quién es? What's his or her name? ¿Cómo se llama? His or her name is se llama. For a male teacher, el profesor. A female teacher, la profesora. And you, y tú, your. You can either use su or tú. Su is your if you're being polite, and tú is informal. There is or there are, I have, tengo. Let's go from the top. Sir is señor, miss, señorita. Boy, niño, girl, niña. Who is he or who is she? ¿Quién es? What's his or her name? ¿Cómo se llama? His or her name is se llama. For a male teacher, el profesor. A female teacher, la profesora. And you, y tú, your. you could either use su or tu. Su is if you're being polite, and tu is informal. There is or there are. I have, tengo. Now here is the English translation for the dialogue. I will read the dialogue in Spanish again, and then I'm going to read the English translation. Let's go. Buenos días, Marta. Buenos días, señorita Machado. ¿Cómo está usted? Bien, gracias. ¿Y tú? Muy bien, gracias. ¿Quién es el niño, Marta? Es mi hermano, señorita. ¿Es tu hermano? ¿Cómo se llama? Se llama Paco. Here is the English translation. So for Buenos días, Marta, the English translation is Good morning, Marta. Did you know that? Yeah, I know you knew that. Very good. Buenos días, señorita Machado. ¿Cómo está usted? Good morning, Miss Machado. How are you? Now remember, ¿cómo está usted? Is how are you when you're being polite. When you're talking to your friends or somebody your age group, what will you ask? ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien. So because Marta is talking to her teacher, she used ¿Cómo está usted? How are you? The teacher responds, Bien, gracias. ¿Y tú? The English translation is good, thank you. And you? And Marta says, Muy bien, gracias. The English translation is very good, thank you. The teacher asks, ¿Quién es el niño, Marta? So what is quién is? Remember, quién is who is he or who is she? So the English translation is, who is the boy, Marta? And Marta says, Es mi hermano, señorita. He is my brother, miss. ¿Es tu hermano? ¿Cómo se llama? He is your brother? What is his name? And Marta says, Se llama Paco. His name is Paco. You see how easy that was? Once you learn your vocabulary, it's going to be very easy for you to translate sentences and also speak in the language. Now let's go through that vocabulary chart one more time. In Spanish, when you want to say sir or miss, sir is señor, miss, señorita. Boy, niño, girl, niña. Who is he or who is she? ¿Quién es? What's his or her name? ¿Cómo se llama? His or her name is se llama. For a male teacher, el profesor. A female teacher, la profesora. And you? Y tú? Your. You could either use su or tu. Su is your if you're being polite, and tu is informal. There is or there are. I have, tengo. Identifying family members. Seeing that we're looking at the family in Spanish, you need to know the Spanish vocabulary for family members. Let's look at the vocabulary chart. Here are some words that will help you to identify members of the family. Grandmother, la abuela. Grandfather, el abuelo. Husband, el esposo. Wife, la esposa. Family, la familia. Brother, el hermano. Sister, la hermana. Cousin, male cousin, el primo. Female cousin, la prima. Father, el padre. Mother, la madre. Son, el hijo. Daughter, la hija. Remember, the H is silent in Spanish. The J is pronounced as H. Now let's pronounce the new vocabulary again. Grandmother, la abuela. Grandfather, el abuelo. Husband, el esposo. Wife, la esposa. Family, la familia. Brother, el hermano. Sister, la hermana. Cousin, male cousin, el primo. Female cousin, la prima. Father, el padre. Mother, la madre. Son, el hijo. Daughter, la hija. What do you notice about the family members? Now take a look at the chart one more time. What do you notice? There is a la or el before each member. In Spanish, nouns are classified as masculine, used with the article el and un, or feminine, used with the articles la and una. So remember that. So nouns in Spanish, they have a gender. So for masculine nouns, you use the article el, and for feminine nouns, you use the article la. For family members, well, you already know the gender, so you know whether to use el or la. For male family members like son, grandfather, brother, you use the article el. For female family members, mother, sister, niece, etc., you use the article la. All right? Good. Here's your first exercise. Review your vocabulary chart and translate the dialogue in Spanish. Do you think you can translate this dialogue into Spanish? I believe in you. I know you can do it. So here's the dialogue. It's between a male teacher and Sylvia. I'm going to go through. Good afternoon, Sylvia. Sylvia responds, good afternoon, Sir Alvarez. How are you? And the teacher says, I am very good, thank you. And you? Sylvia says, I'm very good, thank you. The teacher asks, who is the girl, Sylvia? Sylvia responds, she is my sister, sir. And the teacher asks again, she's your sister? What is her name? And Sylvia responds, her name is Paloma. So you're going to have to translate that dialogue into Spanish. Let us translate the dialogue. We're going to do it together. So for teacher, a male teacher, what will you write? El profesor or la profesora? If you guessed el profesor, that is correct. So the el profesor, the teacher, says, good afternoon, Sylvia, in Spanish. What is good afternoon in Spanish? Buenas tardes. So you write, buenas tardes, Sylvia. Sylvia says, good afternoon, Sir Alvarez. How are you? Translation will be, buenas tardes, Señor Alvarez. ¿Cómo está usted? Remember, Sylvia is speaking to her teacher, so she has to use the polite question for how are you. which is ¿Cómo está usted? The teacher responds, I'm very good, thank you, and you? The translation, muy bien, gracias. ¿Y tú? Sylvia says, I'm very good, thank you. Muy bien, gracias. The teacher asks, who is the girl, Sylvia? Now, how do you ask who is in Spanish? ¿Quién es? And girl in Spanish is niña. So who is the girl? ¿Quién es la niña? And Sylvia says, she is my sister, sir. Es mi hermana, señor. She is your sister? What is her name? Es tu hermana. Remember, hermana is sister. So, es tu hermana. ¿Cómo se llama? What is her name? ¿Cómo se llama? And Sylvia says her name is Paloma. Se llama Paloma. How easy was that? Remember, as I said before, you have to learn your new vocabulary words in order to translate and to also write and speak in the language. Gracias por su atención. Hasta próxima clase. Adiós.